guys, it's me and I'm back with another video, and things may look a little different. The last video you saw was me talking about I was moving into my new apartment, and now I am pretty much here and I'm like 75% set up. I've got boxes around my room in multiple places, so I'm still figuring out things, so I'm sorry if the setup's a little dark, a little weird. It will get better over time, but that's not why we're here today. Today, we're going to be talking about, I can't believe that my first video in my new apartment is about an actually freaking amazing DCEU film. Amazing. That's right, guys, today we are going to be talking about Wonder Woman. Okay, I'm ready to go. I have my Wonder Woman pin on. I just have to say this out loud a few times. A Wonder Woman live action film. The first ever Wonder Woman live action film. The first DC Comics female live action film. It feels surreal. So can we say without a doubt that Wonder Woman has had positive reviews anyway? I have not heard one person yet say that they have disliked this film. Not one. And as we've learned, saying that in the DC Comics EU, it's pretty unheard of. Now I have so many things to talk about in this film, so let's go straight into my rating, which has literally been, I'm trying to pinpoint a rating and it's so difficult. So I saw this film last night and it is now probably been 24 hours since I've seen it. So some things may be a little bit hazy. I wish I'd seen it a few more times before I decided to do this review, but I've thought about it and I feel like I'm gonna give it an 8.9 out of 10. I know that seems kind of a weird rating, but I don't want to quite give it a 9. But it does not deserve 8.5, so I'm going to give it 8.9 out of 10. That is the highest I've ever rated a DC Comics film, I believe. I think even the Dark Knight films were about, actually probably on par. Everything about this film was fantastic. It had a strong story, all of the dialogue was fantastic, the characters, the actors, the visuals, the colours, everything, the costumes, everything was just done to perfection. So why was it so good? Well, let me tell you, when you focus on one character because it's their film, you get a good film. Though that saying, we could bring up Man of Steel, and I did not like Man of Steel, so, you know, that could counteract my speak, but I guess sometimes it's just simply all about the director and all about the screenwriter, and in this case, it totally was. This film knew its atmosphere. It knew it just knew how high stakes this was going to be. They knew exactly when the film had to be dramatic, when it had to be comedic, when it had to have its fight sequences. There was no random like one-liners thrown in to like make a really heavy fight scene, you know, a little bit lighter. You know, it wasn't like, this is such a dark film, okay, let's just throw some comedy on the side. It was dark with comedy. It was dark comedy at times. It was fantastic. I think the delivery of some of the dialogue and just the way that the characters interacted with each other, of course, is all on a lot of the actors. Gal Gadot was fantastic as Wonder Woman. Any misconceptions that I had about her before have been completely wiped out of my mind. She is Wonder Woman. Chris Pine was fantastic as Steve Trevor. I had so many reservations that we were just going to go into the movie seeing Chris Pine, seeing Kirk as Steve Trevor, but he really stepped up to this role. I felt that he went above and beyond. There was just so many different conversations that everything out of my mind emptied, and I was just listening to him. I was stuck to the screen, listening to him, believing him. It was spectacular. And I feel like one of my favorite characters from this film has to be Etta. What a fantastic Etta. I was so happy with her. Every scene that she was in, I was just drawn to this. I was laughing my ass off. She is such a good comedic actress. Her timing is fantastic. Absolutely loved her. The visuals, the colors, it wasn't just dark and gross. Themyscira looked spectacular. We had, you know, an epic fantasy put in with like modern day, and then we had world wars, so many different elements in one film. And it didn't clash because it was all part of the same universe. And please, we have to talk about the fight sequences. man. Some people are trying to compare them to Batman's fight sequences, and you cannot do that. Batman is a completely different fighter to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has been trained as an Amazon, as an ancient Greek in the ways of sword fighting and marksmanship and just aerobics and so many different gymnastics and just an amazing amount. Just her, out of all characters in DC Comics, I mean, Wonder Woman has to be one of the top fighters because she was trained as an Amazon, and we saw this in this film. She has such an epic fighting style. So I want to talk a little bit about my 3 favorite scenes in this film. My top favorite scene is No Man's Land, and if you have seen this film or if you've watched other reviews, I'm sure everybody's favorite scene is this one. This is a scene that everybody told Wonder Woman or Diana that she could not do this. You cannot do this. It has not been done. Don't even try. She was like, I can't. I cannot sit by and watch this happen. So basically, they were in the trenches. They were in, you know, the enemy was all around them, and they had been trying to get across this field for so long. But this is the part where she finally took off her coat. She had her Wonder Woman costume ready. She just gunned through that field. She was deflecting bullets and bombs and God knows what else. She just ripped through that field, and the visuals, the slow motion was just perfection. Worked so well for the storyline in why she was crossing the field. And I feel like that scene was actually quite emotional for a number of reasons for different people. I guess for me as a female, being told that you can't do something and it's impossible, even if you think you can achieve it, all those people around you telling you no, 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 no. Something like this, something so basic like this is just such an inspiration to see someone just take charge and go through it and succeed, to show that there is hope and things can succeed in the world. It's just, I love this scene so much. It's just absolutely, it's got to be probably one of my favorite scenes in any superhero film. I do not take that lightly. My second favorite scene was something a little less heavy. It happened when Steve and Diana went into the alley. So if you guys have seen some of my Wonder Woman trailer reactions, you may know what I'm about to talk about. So I kind of knew this was already going to be in the film, obviously from the trailers, but I was so glad that I could finally see the scene in whole. So this is of course the scene where Steve and Diana go down the alleyway when they're in London. So a lot of German soldiers have been following Steve because he was acting as a spy over in Germany. And basically they corner him in this alleyway with Diana. They all pull up their guns and they basically are gonna kill them. So Steve says to Diana, stand back, I'll protect you. She's like, I don't need you to protect me, basically. She deflects the gun and beats the crap out of everyone. I'm just like, my God. I feel like it was such a great homage to the original Superman film with just such an amazing reverse Clark Kent. Of course, in that scene, when Clark and Lois went into the alleyway, Clark deflected the bullet, but then he pretended like he didn't do it. Lois was confused and Clark acted like he just fainted so that she wouldn't ask him any questions. So I feel like it was a nice little homage to that, and I very much enjoyed that and appreciated it. My third favorite scene was just an amazing piece of dialogue, a monologue from Steve, of all characters, Steve Trevor, Chris Pine. I think this dialogue actually made me appreciate, well, actually made me more appreciate Chris Pine as an actor. So I've always just really assumed he's just an action hero actor, you know. I didn't really take him seriously as someone that could really rope me into a scene and not think about anything else and kind of like question my life. So the scene I'm talking about is going to be a little bit of a spoiler, so if you have not seen the Wonder Woman film, I would suggest not watching what I'm about to say. So basically this is when Diana has jumped up into that German camp and she has killed the German sergeant who she thought was Ares. And of course none of the people are changing back. She's confused. She doesn't know what's happening. She thought she's killed Ares and then everyone will go back to normal, but it's not happening. And Steve is trying to explain to Diana that humanity isn't just black and white. It has so many different layers of evil, and people just have different, you know, motives and ways that they can be corrupted, and it's not just a simple magic solution. There's just so many layers to humanity, and humanity is just such a chaotic subject to begin with, to try to explain to someone that couldn't possibly understand humans. I was just drawn into that scene so intensely that I just forgot all my surroundings. I forgot I was in a cinema, I forgot I was watching a film with characters, with actors. I was just enroped in that conversation. I feel like that's only really happened a few times when I'm watching films. Now, I'm trying my best to keep this review short and sweet, so I want to talk about, lastly, the few things that were a little bit of a downfall. This, of course, in no way wrecks the film much at all. Like, as I said, I gave it like an 8.9 out of 10, so... And there is always going to be one or two things that people dislike about a film. So I have three main things I want to talk about that I dislike about this film. The first thing I want to talk about is Ares. And this is, of course, going to be a little bit of a spoiler, so if you're rewatching again and have not seen the film, probably not going to want to watch actually all of these points, so it might be good to just click off the video now. So I knew obviously Ares was going to be in this film, just didn't know in what capacity. They did very well in hiding this character and then revealing him in the way that they did. I just feel like the actor wasn't really Ares worthy. So it's very obvious in terms of what they were trying to do. They were trying to make Ares very inconspicuous, so you wouldn't understand that he was in fact Ares. But I just didn't feel the gravitas of Ares, the god of war, who's supposed to be this spectacular Wonder Woman villain. I just thought maybe he was inhabiting his body. When they started showing the flashbacks of when he was killing all the other gods, and he had the same face and like this ripped body, and I was like, Remus Lupin, this does not suit you. So I'm sorry, but I feel like David Thewlis was not a very good actor to cast as Ares, or if they were going to do that, they should have just had Ares in the body of Sir Patrick and then had another actor portray Ares, or just not even shown his face in when he got the helmet and his massive suit. Though I did like him much better when he created his Ares suit out of all the bits around him, but was not convinced on the actor, unfortunately, so that was a little bit of a letdown. And I think it was so obvious from the very beginning that Sir Patrick had something scheming going on. He was just way too nice and too knowing about everything and too high up. I thought maybe he was in league with Ludendorff or some of the German army and that he was going to betray them later, but to turn out to be Ares was a little bit, well, it was shocking, but it was also a little bit of disappointment. I just thought, really? Why? The second thing I disliked was Steve's goodbye. So as you know, well actually let's say the second and third thing, I did not like that Steve Trevor died in this film. There's so many different renditions of Wonder Woman and what Steve does in the Wonder Woman comics, and a lot of the ones that I've read, he's never actually kind of died and he's just been around all the time. So the fact that they killed him off, I thought was a very brave move. I can understand why Wonder Woman's a bit bitter now in the modern day, because obviously so much stuff has happened, but I feel like, you know, killing Steve off at a later time, not in the first Wonder Woman film, it's a bit much, but, you know, I feel like there's just so many different adventures that she could have learnt with Steve over like the next maybe 10 years, and then maybe you could kill him off, but I feel like it was a bit much in the first film. There was a lot they were trying to do there, and I feel like having him live would have been a better solution, but they wanted to go for something tough and something hard and something that would really rip Diana into her freaking Super Saiyan mode. So I can understand that, but I just did not like the fact that they killed Steve off. Maybe he's not dead, but I mean, how can he survive that? He's not a superhuman, so yeah. But what I was trying to say is that I did not like Steve's goodbye. I did not feel satisfied from that. I just felt similar deja vu back to the BVS fight with the Martha thing. You know, she can't hear what Steve's saying, that he's going off to sacrifice himself because of like the bomb that's gone off, and she can't hear properly and she just doesn't really understand what he's saying, and then she just ignores it. But it was just very, very clear that Diana could have stopped Steve from dying, and I think the way, obviously he needed to die for her to go into her Super Saiyan mode, but I feel like it could have, the goodbye could have been executed a little better. I feel like she needed to hear him say those words, and obviously she probably wouldn't have let him go and kill himself, but there had to be, I feel like there should have been some other way that she was stopped from trying to help Steve. But the fact that a bomb blew up and she couldn't quite hear, and then, oh, she suddenly, you know, remembered it later. Oh, this is what he said. I just felt like wasn't a very strong point in the plot. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I felt very underwhelmed from that goodbye, and it didn't work for me. But overall, what a fantastic film. Just absolutely stunning, and I'm gonna go see it like literally 2 or 3 more times because I have to see it again and again. So I feel like this is such a good comeback for the DCEU. I do feel like I have this feeling of dread inside me now that Justice League is just gonna some way let us down and then just take us back down the rabbit hole that Wonder Woman has climbed up so high, and we may just be, the ladder will be just pulled out from under all of the DC Comics fans. But we'll have to see, and I'm really hoping that everybody's stepped up and that we'll have a fantastic Justice League film that was just as good as Wonder Woman, because I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. And if you have given up on DC, the DCEU, you should not do that yet, because Wonder Woman is a good film. It's a fantastic film. You have to see it. So that was my complete review of Wonder Woman, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of the film in the comments below, and try not to leave any massive spoilers for people that have not seen the film yet. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.